Hello and welcome to MEA Cafe. I'm your host, Sarah Masood, right here on Middle Eastern American Television. And today we're talking about the challenges of our career choices and success. And today joining us later on, we have two liaisons that will join us later. But now we have Angie right next to me. Thank you for being here today once
Hello.
again. I know both of us have come such a long way from high school, graduating college, and being where we're at now in our lives. Have you struggled with making a career decision?
I think I did when I was in high school, and I always wanted to be in the medical field. And then when I got hired into a pharmacy when I was like 15 years old, where it was like a co-op program. So I was in pharmacy for like 5 years of my life. And then when it came to like applying to pharmacy school, I didn't want to do it anymore. And I broke my dad's heart. My dad was so upset that I didn't want to be a pharmacist anymore. And I'm like, Dad, it's just not for me. I don't want it. I don't like it. It's a boring job now.
Right.
And then there was such a high demand on it at the time where when I was in college where you could get into pharmacy school and it was easy. And then they were changing the program from like a 6-year program to an 8-year program. And I'm like,
Yes.
if I'm going to go to school for 8 years, I'm going to go 2 more years and become a doctor.
You might as well.
Might as well
Might as
become
well.
a
And I
doctor.
had the same thing because I was doing pre-med. I was doing a pharmacy technician for 7 years, and my dad is like, no, you have to. And I said, it's not my thing. I don't like it. I don't want to do it. And then I switched in good timing to finish and graduate on time. But I think a lot of us go through that where in high school we have an idea what we want to be and what college we want to go to. We pursue it for a little bit. We study it in college, and then sometimes we're like, this is really hard. I don't want to do it anymore. It's not my passion. The dropouts, and then we have career changes. And then our parents are involved with that because they're kind of like on us and guiding us for the best. Their intentions are great, but I think their approach is a little bit overwhelming.
Absolutely. I think every household is different. My family has always been the one like they pushed for education. They pushed for, this is important. This is important. We live in a country where you can do this and you can go and study and become something. And it's better to have an education in America than in any country. So, but I understand where they say it's the demand and it's important, but the importance in it, it's harder because we are working at the same time as we're going to school, and then you have to focus on your studies, and then you have to come up with the money to pay for your schooling because not everyone has these scholarships or can get everything paid for.
That's true.
So it's the loans that you apply for, and then you get out and you have like 6 months to pay for them. And then afterwards, you're just like, you're stuck. You can't find a job. And that's where I think where people hesitate in going to school now because they're just like, oh, what if I don't find a job? I go to school for 4 years and I study and I get my education and then I can't find a job and then what? And then 6 months later they have these loans they have to pay on.
That's true. And before I bring my guests out, I wanted to ask you where you think the difficulty starts. Is it in high school or in college, or kind of like in the midst of along the way?
I think that when you're focused on, like when I was younger, I was like, I'm going to be in the medical field. I'm going to be in the medical field. I still am in the medical field. I've been in it for 10 years.
Yeah.
But what I do now is I love what I do now to if I had went into pharmacy. So I always tell myself, I'm like, this is something that I wanted to do, but when I was studying, I think that's where I lost interest in it because I was working in it for so long.
Yes.
Then you're just like, I don't think this is for me. Maybe I'm just doing it to make somebody else happy, but this is not what I want to do the rest of my life.
But sometimes we do want a particular career and we get a taste of it and then we really see that it's not for us. And sometimes that's okay because I'm thankful. I'm glad I didn't go study right out of high school. I'm glad I didn't go straight into pharmacy school and then got into the actual work field. And I'm like, I cannot believe this is what I have to do for the rest of my life and I just wasted my year. So I'm happy that I did it way before I pursued it. Educationally.
Absolutely. I think it's a blessing. It was a blessing in disguise to be able to work at a young age in the field, and then you get a taste of it, and you're just like, this is not for me.
Right.
I can't do this the rest of my life. So, I mean, in that part, for sure, I agree.
Now, before I bring my guests out, would you agree with the fact that our advisors or our counselors in high school direct us to the best of our abilities, or like you said, it's the demand of the society right now?
I think now is just like the demand of the society where it's come
Yeah.
to. It's just like when I was in high school, and graduating, marketing and communications was like at the top.
Mhm.
And then everybody went into marketing and communications. And then as soon as they graduated, there was no jobs. So 90% of my friends went back to school.
Right.
They went back to school because they couldn't find a job. But now it is, I think it's just with society. Whatever is paying the most, that's what people are studying
Yeah.
and doing. 'Cause it's all about making money.
And that is true. It is all about making money, but then there's a fine line between doing what you love or doing it for money, because then your performance at work really it's ongoing on that, and people get to see that, and your performance matters the most, I would say. What is it that you do now? Would you like to share?
I run an MRI office. I work and I translate all day long for Arabic and Chaldean people all day. So I'm working with our people all day long. And there's benefits in it, and then there's the stress in it as well.
Right.
But I mean, it is a blessing. I in this economy, the way things are, I have a job, and not all people can say like they have a job.
Right.
So I mean, being in the medical field it's always been something that pays for.
It pays off.
It pays
It
off,
has
definitely.
that benefit
It
in
has
it.
the benefit in it, absolutely.
Now, we've addressed a couple of concerns, and this is kind of like an overall for all people that go through it, students, and it kind of varies within the age too, because a lot of older people will go back to school. Now, I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about the Arab American community and in their households? Like, I know most of the families don't allow their young ones to go out of state to study or stay in state or pursue their careers very in a broad manner. Do you see that our culture has a little bit more of a struggle than Americans?
Absolutely. I was, when I did apply to pharmacy school, I got into school in Muskegon at Fair State. And my dad was like, no, you're not going anywhere. He's like, there's schools here. If you want to go to school, you're going to go to school here.
Right.
He's like, you are not leaving the house. So I think that was probably why I mostly probably took a step back because of that, because I'm like, if I apply at Wayne State, I have to wait 3 years to get into the program.
Right.
So, you know what, I think it is. I think in our households, it's like we're going to go back to that subject where it's different for guys and girls. So,
Yes.
Guys can go away to school.
Yes.
They can do these things. I mean, we all went to school here, my brothers and I. My brothers graduated from here. I graduated from here. So we never had anybody, but our family, our cousins have, where they went out of state. And I think they just had a different sign of, they have more responsibility. And they've learned to become adults faster because, mom wasn't there to cook for you. And mom wasn't there to wash your clothes.
Right.
And all that wasn't handed to you like it is here when you're living at home. So.
And now we'll bring out our first guest, Rashid Beydoun, Executive Director of the Arab American Civil Rights League.
هل تستمتع بالأرجيلة أو الشيشة؟ ولكن ماذا عن تنظيفها وإعدادها؟ الكثير من التعب مما قد يفسد المتعة. نحن لدينا الحل. لأول مرة نظام شيشة ذاك المتكامل لإعداد وتنظيف الشيشة، صمم خصيصا ليمنحك متعة كاملة. لا داعي لتنظيف الشيشة بالماء بعد الآن. بسهولة وفاعلية تخلص من الشوائب والعوالق تماما. إعداد الفحمات قصة أخرى مربكة. مع شيشة ذاك بسهولة وسرعة وفي أمان تام، الفحمات جاهزة في لحظات. بأقل جهد الشيشة جاهزة تماما بفضل نظام شيشة ذاك للتشغيل التلقائي لتبدأ الإحساس الغني بالمتعة وبالمذاق المفضل لديك. نظام شيشة ذاك العالمي هو الحل الأمثل بفاعلية وأمان تام. اجعل تجربة الشيشة كل مرة أكثر متعة وبسهولة. للطلبات يرجى زيارة الموقع الإلكتروني getshishathak.com. كما يمكنكم الاتصال على رقم الهاتف 855 شيشة ذاك 855-744-7428.
من منا لا يبحث جاهدا حتى ينعم أحباؤنا الذين هم بحاجة إلى الرعاية الصحية بأماكن آمنة توفر لهم العلاج والرعاية والحنان. Greenfield Rehab and Nursing Center أفضل مكان للرعاية الصحية والخدمات الطبية. خدمات طبية تحت إشراف كادر من أطباء الجالية يقدمون الرعاية الصحية. كما يقدم مركز جرينفيلد للتمريض والعلاج الطبيعي خدمات العلاج الطبيعي يوميا وتحت إشراف كادر متخصص. جميع من سيختار الجرينفيلد ريهاب النيرسينج سنتر سينعمون بنشاطات يومية من ضمنها دينية وروحية. يتضمن المركز غرف مريحة للنوم وغرف للجلوس وتناول الطعام، كما بإمكانهم اختيار وجبات الطعام التي تتضمن أكلات عربية لتكتمل أجواء الراحة. جرينفيلد ريهاب نيرسينج سنتر تقبل معظم أنواع التأمين الصحي. زورهم على 3030 جرينفيلد رود في مدينة رويال أوك، أو اتصلوا بهم على الرقم 248-288-6610، أو زوروا موقعهم على الإنترنت www.greenfieldrehab.com.
تبحثون عن مهنة جديدة أو مهتمين بالحصول على شهادة في مجال النادر؟ ألفا نيوروساينس إنستيتيوت يقدم تعليم فريد من نوعه في مجال نيوروساينس دايغنوستكس، وذلك بفترة 11 شهر فقط. ألفا نيوروساينس إنستيتيوت يقصده التلاميذ من مختلف أنحاء الدول العربية ليكسبوا خبرة مميزة وشهادة تضمن فرص العمل. برامج التعليم تتضمن EEG Nerve Conduction Studies, Intraoperative Monitoring, Polysomnography Technology. كما يتضمن البرنامج Clinical Rotations في أهم المستشفيات كبومانت وسين جون. طلابنا يحصلون على وظائف بسرعة وخلال فترة التعليم. الصفوف تبدأ January 2nd. اتصلوا على 248-499-7541 أو 248-330-3520.
أخبار سارة من ديش نتورك. آن الأوان لإعلام أفراد عائلتكم وأصدقائكم إنه بإمكانهم التمتع بمشاهدة باقات القنوات العربية حتى لو كانوا ساكنين في بنايات ما بتتوفر فيها خدمات الساتلايت، أو لوجود عائق آخر لاستقبال الإرسال من الساتلايت. منقدم لكم آخر وأجدد خدمات IPTV من خلال خدمة برودباند. للمزيد من المعلومات أو للحصول على جهاز IPTV مجاناً اتصلوا فينا على 1-855-272-2988.
Proud to be homegrown, a familiar face and a name you know. Come on, we know you, we know your needs. We know what being a neighbor means. Can you hear it? Fueling the American spirit. No matter when, no matter where, Marathon will take you there.
With the new Marathon Visa credit card, you earn up to 25 cents per gallon off all Marathon purchases.
Welcome, Rashid. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
I want to go ahead and go right into, give us a little bit of an explanation of your background, what you've done, and what it is that you do right now.
Well, currently I have been appointed to the position of Executive Director for the Arab American Civil Rights League, which is an organization based on providing civil liberties for Arab Americans. As you know, and many of us know, discrimination and Arabs are synonymous thing,
Right.
Especially living in the post-9/11 era. So all my life I've been very active in the community, and I've always advocated for civil liberties for all people. So this was definitely an amazing thing here to have. So I'm very excited.
Now, we've talked about the challenges of students going right into high school, through college, graduating, and choosing a career. They pursue it, and then they have their difficulties. How do you feel that it is a challenge for the students? Where's the challenge that it begins? Is it in high school or in college?
I think it's a little of both, and I think the biggest issue is being prepared both mentally and physically for what it is that you hope to achieve. And it begins, I think, right when you're born, believe it or not.